Hey, folks.
What up, Joe?
Hey, Joe.
Yo.
How y'all doing?
Doing well.
Good. I had a question for you all. What are your favorite Filipino or Filipino American films?
Filipino. My favorite Filipino film is My Mina Mahal with Aga Mulak and Don Zulueta.
What?
My favorite Filipino American film is Colma, a musical based out of Colma, with a place where more dead people are there instead of alive.
Coma stays. Dun, 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 dun.
You know what? I've watched way too many Filipino movies to have a favorite, but Super 123 with Tito Vic and Joey. And
Super 1, 2, 3.
no, but Filipino American film I really enjoyed actually after one of our podcast episodes, Rock and Roll, that I really liked.
yeah.
Or Filipino films is actually
Nice.
Yeah.
Mike?
Oh, you totally stole mine, Ryan.
Oh, did I? I'm sorry.
Also, I liked What Isn't There, which I can never pronounce the Tagalog name properly.
Ang nawawala.
Ang nawawala.
There you go. I always messed it up too.
And Phil Am, does Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze count? Because of
Yeah.
Ernie Reyes Jr.?
Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Counting that.
Yes.
Or Hook, I suppose.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know?
Joe?
Ah. My favorite Filipino film was Jose Rizal, the movie,
Okay.
because I think it was the most well-done historical film until that time. And then Filipino American film, I'm going to go with an obscure one. It's called A Filipino in America, which was produced in 1938.
Wow.
It's the first ever Filipino American film about the Manong generation.
How'd you see that?
It was a short film. The Filipino American Library has a copy of it.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah. But do you remember the first modern Filipino American film, The Debut?
The debut?
Yeah.
Yes.
I do.
Directed by Gene Cahayon.
When did it debut?
Oh my God. That is
Nice.
Wow. Where's my sad trombone?
In the year 2000.
Really?
Oh, wait.
Yes.
Oh,
So the debut is 18 years old?
Yes.
It's having a debut?
Yes.
I
Nice.
remember
Where?
watching it at the AMC at the Burbank Mall. There's like 3 movie theaters are there, but the one specifically in the mall, so AMC 6, I think is what it was.
Nice. I was I helped volunteer at the Santa Barbara International Film Festival, and I was helping promote The Debut over
Nice.
there
Cool.
when I was in college.
I watched it in the theaters also. I don't remember. I think I watched it with some friends up in the Bay Area.
I dragged my parents to it.
Nice.
I have never seen it.
What? Are you serious?
I have never seen the debut.
Wow.
And we own it, and he still has not seen it.
Well, you have a chance to watch it. It's going to be playing at the Cinematograph Film Festival on November 8th to 11th, 2018 in San Francisco. So don't miss its 18th birthday. Visit cinematographofilmfestival.com for updates.
My secret, just do something that ain't nobody ever done before, but make it sound like something that's always been there forever.
Welcome to This Filipino American Life, a podcast that explores the nuanced experiences of Filipinos in the United States at iba pa. My name is Ryan Carpio, and I'm joined by my fellow hosts.
Joe Bernardo.
Elaine DeLawless.
And...
Mike.
Producer Mike.
Yes! We are off and running to another episode. Hi, guys.
Hi.
How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Good.
My tummy's full of delicious things.
Right? It's always nice to be here in our studio, also known as our
Berlado Studios.
Berlado Studios, and always fed well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. T-Pals of the episode, Elaine?
It is Carebee, and that's the only name that's listed. So
Caribbean? Like
Carebee.
Like Care Bear?
Kerby.
Like, is it? Oh, it's
Caribbean?
not Cardi B?
No, it's not like Cardi B.
Caribbean?
Carebee.
Carabao?
Is it Kirby?
Yeah, it says Kerby. That's all I got here.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Carebee, for
Thank you.
your
It's not Kirby?
page. Do you know them, Ryan? Let's do this again.
Well, thank you for being our T-Pal of the episode. That's nice.
Yeah.
And I heard we had voicemails too.
Yes, we do.
What?
Oh, are you?
Yeah. And I will plug in right now.
Yeah, so if you want to leave us a voicemail, you can always leave us a message, a note to encourage us to keep doing what we're doing. What's our phone number, Elaine?
805-394-TFAL.
That's right. And if we get your voicemail, we play it on the air and we talk about it and we say thank you and all that stuff. But if you ever have any interest in hearing your voice on a podcast, that's one way to do it. You can also email us and tell us any fun ideas that you may have.
What's that email address, Mike?
Something.
Wow.
He caught him while he was doing
I know, that's why I did it. It was funny.
something at TFAL.
That's also very wrong.
I just do the thing, the board thing. Don't.
With the thing and the thing and the
Yeah,
thing.
don't make me do other things.
Thank. This Filipino American Life at gmail.com.
That's correct.
Not Hotmail. Not Yahoo.
At Gmail.
Not Juno.
Juno. Do you know what I mean?
Juno.
All right, play one of our voicemails, Joey.
Hey TFAL, how's it going? This is Collyer Mendoza. I just wanted to send y'all some love and appreciation for the work that y'all are doing. Y'all are pretty much a source of self-care for me and laughter. This is a really messed up world, and activists like myself need all the laughter and community that we can find. So I appreciate the stories that y'all uplift and the humor and analysis that you bring to issues that pertain to our community. Anyways, just sending y'all tons of love, and hope you have a fantastic day. Okay, maraming salamat. Ingat.
Nice.
Yes.
That was a good one.
Yeah, shout out to Kalayaan Mendoza.
There you go.
He's an activist in our community, and he's doing really good things for us.
Cool.
So shout out to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing what you're doing.
Yes. And we have one more, actually.
Hey, my name is Ray Polito, and I live in Washington, D.C. I'm a Filipino American, originally from Glendale, California. And I just wanted to call to give a shout out because I'm actually driving back home on a Sunday afternoon to my home in just north of D.C., and I was listening to the latest episode in which, Mike, you interviewed Malacca, and I swear it really, really, really got to me because I resonated so much with everything that you and she said. I mean, it's like, wow. I just want to say that you guys are just doing such an awesome job. And the only bad thing is I wish I had known you were coming to DC. I would have loved to talk with you. You know, it's like, my gym is right near Kuya Jaws, so it's so funny. I'll go
So
work
close.
out and I'll throw it all away by eating some lechon belly Kuya Jaws afterwards. Just quickly, I was born and raised in Glendale, and then moved up to the Bay Area, so I feel both NorCal and SoCal. I actually moved abroad for a while. I lived in Spain, and then I did a grad degree in Monterey, and that landed me with a job at the State Department. I've been here for 10 years, and just trying to feel a little more Filipino, and what that all entails is complicated enough. But over the past few months, I've been eating up, devouring all of your episodes. It's really, really affected me. It's hit me a lot, and I just want to say thank you all for your work. Thank you for the contributions you're making to having a greater presence of us Filipino Americans, because it's just finding representation here has been part of my daily life, it seems, recently. I married a great guy out here, but he's white, and so I have a couple Filipino friends, but not like it was when I was in California. If you guys ever want to chat about church or LGBT issues or languages, I'm actually a linguist at the State Department, translation and interpretation. I would love to talk with you guys, and I still go home to Glendale to visit my mom a lot. I think we follow each other on Twitter. My name is Ray Valido, Valido, and I think my R-A-Y. I know Filipinos always spell it R-E-Y, but I'm R-A-Y, and I think that's my Twitter handle, @RayVolito with no space in it. You guys are awesome. Thank you for everything. Thank you for such an amazing episode, and how great to listen to it. I'm like driving home to D.C. I spent the weekend at my Filipina friend's house.
And got cut off. I think there's not a limit, is there, Elaine?
There's not what?
There's no limit in terms of
I don't know. It could be like his phone.
his phone died.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of love. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Ray. Follow him on Twitter, like he follows us,
Yeah.
and of course, follow us on Twitter.
It's
At
always
TFAL
nice
Podcast.
it's always nice to get voicemails like that or any kind of feedback that you have for us out there. We love what we do. We try to do a really good show and also want to be really informative and highlight some of our fellow Kababayans and Filipino Americans that, we want to share their story. So thank you for highlighting that for us as well, Ray.
Cool. So what are we talking about, Ryan?
Today, we're talking about entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship.
Oh, what? So,
What's that?
What ship is that? Is that at Port Long Beach?
Captain.
The entrepreneurship?
It sounds like a really intense cruise, or like a Star Trek ship, or
Like Enterprise?
yeah.
I wanted to talk about like having a business mind and growing up. We've done this in the podcast too, trying to figure out what a good next business idea would be. But I don't know if you guys feel this, but as a Filipino kid growing up, I never in my mind thought about being a business person or even starting my own business. I've always wanted to be a doctor or even an engineer, but business was not really something that was instilled in me as a kid. But I don't know. Did your parents ever think about that? Or are your parents business people? Did they ever want to start your own business? Did you guys ever did you guys have any side hustles going, when you were kids?
No, I was never pushed in that direction either. I was basically told to get a safe, secure job like my parents did. So,
what is a safe, secure job? Like in a
government office. Nice pension, lots of days off,
good insurance,
good benefits, all that stuff.
The predictability of the
So you're a failure, Joe.
Oh.
You're a total failure.
No.
Womp womp. No, yeah, my parents never pushed me towards that. So, Laners?
No, my parents didn't push me towards entrepreneurship. They had like regular 9-to-5 jobs. My mom was an accountant for a while, and my dad was a software developer. So they had good jobs, good 9-to-5 white collar jobs, and then they just wanted me to go to school,
finish.
Right. I really think my parents had lots of low expectations for me, which set me up for success. So parents out there, give your kids low expectations. They'll exceed them.
Wow.
Some great sage advice from Elaine. How about you, Mike?
I feel like, I think my mom did like Mary Kay at one point, and that's about as far as like into entrepreneurship as they went. I mean, otherwise, I think they looked at things like that as kind of like not legitimate, I think, and almost kind of like suspicious, right? Like, why couldn't you get a real job? Why do you got to be like trying to sell us, World Book Encyclopedias or something?
Right.
So, I mean, like, I think my parents expected me to get into like engineering or some real thing, which obviously I didn't. But I mean, I think it's not like they didn't respect like the hustle. And I think in the Philippines, like, you have to hustle, right?
Right.
But if you're in America, it's because you're here for like a specific purpose and goal and like mission, apparently. And that's to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, federal worker, something like that, something along those lines, postal worker. Yeah. Because, the idea was, and I've been thinking about this a lot more lately too, is like the goals for them were like to like send money back to the Philippines. So like, how can you send money back to the Philippines if you're doing something that you can barely scrape by on? And to them, I think entrepreneurship was one of those categories that was just
risky.
Like, it's not like a stable source of income.
Right.
It's variable. So,
right. And I almost like think about like, the risk factor of starting your own business. You know, in the Philippines, I imagine there's a bunch of folks who are on the hustle, right? Like they're going to start a store and you know, risk what they have to sell. But I think about the Filipino like immigrants that have come here. It's not really in their. I don't know if there's anything to that, but I don't know. Historian Joe, any insight to what that risk factor is, and maybe is it specific to like an immigrant population? You think? Because Cubans are very entrepreneurial. Right?
Koreans are. Yeah.
Koreans are. You know, I think about
Americans
right,
are.
but you know.
So what's wrong with us?
I'm not going to say what's wrong, but what's different about us?
No, I think there is a misconception that Filipinos are like not entrepreneur or bad business people, or it's not in our nature, etc. I think we have to look at how the Philippine economy is actually structured, and basically, I mean, Robin Rodriguez talks about this in her book. It's structured as like a brokerage state. So what that means is. The Philippine economy produces Filipinos. They educate a lot of Filipinos for export, right? When our parents grew up, like they were overly educated, but there was no jobs available, right? And so they would go to places in the first world to make a living. So they would come here already with like the social capital as with nursing degrees, accounting, background,
engineering, all that stuff,
doctor, domestic workers too. That's also a service. And so they go to the U.S. They speak English because of American colonization, and that's what they speak in Philippine schools. They, like I said, they have the skills and cultural capital to get a job at a company and government. And so Filipinos, unlike a lot of immigrant communities, they don't depend on an ethnic economy to survive, right? So Filipinos can get a job at a Kaiser. They can get a job at the government because they speak English and they have certain skills to do that, right? But that's kind of different for a lot of immigrant communities where they don't speak English. It's hard for them to get a job there at certain companies, and so they depend on small businesses to survive. Right?
Oh, I can see. So because Filipino immigrants have a competency in English, they have a pathway to employment as opposed to these other communities who don't necessarily have that. And so if you can be an entrepreneurial because you can service your own community and not have to interact with English or American language.
Not even that, but just like you have limited opportunities at those jobs. So you have to like start a business.
Got it.
Stuff like that. You pick up English along the way.
Got it.
But you are limited, right? So like
learned something new today.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then, but that doesn't mean also that Filipinos aren't entrepreneurial. Like like Mike said, your mom did Mary Kay. You know, a lot of Filipinos do all those side hustles.
Oh yeah,
right?
I had an aunt that sold princess glassware.
Exactly.
Or salad master.
Yeah.
Tupperware.
The mangosteen juice.
Yes.
Yeah. All those little pyramid scheme things that Filipinos love to do.
You said it, not me.
And there's also Filipinos who are realtors. They sell insurance.
Yes.
Right. They own nursing homes, like nursing recruitment agencies. And then, of course, when there is a demand for Filipino businesses that are like associated with Filipinos, like restaurants or markets, there is a niche out there for people. And Filipinos are successful in those. A lot of them aren't very successful, but a lot of them are. And yeah, we also have to just understand that we shouldn't believe that being entrepreneurial is necessarily like natural or ideal,
right?
And therefore Filipinos who don't do it are just lacking,
right,
in a skill or just kind of an indictment of our community,
right?
And also, like, if you were our parents, if you're given a choice between working 60 plus hours in a job, in owning a business, or getting a job at the government, that's basically 9 to 5. Which one would you choose? Right. You would choose the
more stable,
the one, good benefits,
right?
bring your kids to educate your kids, pay for their education, etc., like that. So yeah, it's kind of the opportunity that Filipinos have that a lot of immigrant communities don't have. Yeah. And then I also wanted to say that we're also living a time where entrepreneurship is kind of considered more valuable than having those kind of corporate jobs or service sector jobs. And you have out there in popular culture, there's kind of that respect the hustle kind of thing, kind of a narrative, and like you see a lot of billionaire moguls, and it's all about like, oh, you gotta just live your dream and stuff like that. I think we also have to contextualize that, and we have to think like that this is kind of a result of a growing neoliberal economy where workers' rights are getting decimated, right? So wages are getting lower or getting stagnant. So a lot of people have to, and a lot of a lot of workers are working a lot more. A lot of employees are working a lot more longer hours. So a lot of people have to, are kind of forced to start their own businesses to survive. So I think we also have to kind of take that with a grain of salt.
Sure. And also like the hustle's there, right? Like imagine like, growing up, we probably had our own side hustles without even thinking about it. Yeah. And having that mind and that spirit, but like when it comes to when it comes to like a job, I think you're right. When it comes to having that stable job with insurance and 9 to 5.
Yeah, because I think you think about it as a kid, like we all did something to hustle, right?
I had a lemonade stand.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh my
I was a babysitter, and then my dad would also give me like 5 cents for every white hair that I plucked out of his head. I did that for a while.
That's hilarious.
And then he had to stop because then he wouldn't have hair.
It got really expensive.
I had those little pocket video game things, like the LCD ones, like I forgot what they were, like the little Konami ones. I would rent them out to my friends.
Oh, my
You would
gosh,
rent them
that's
out?
so awesome.
Yeah, you know? And actually, like in grade school, like we had like classes where we had school money. But then, like, some of us would like actually use actual money. But like, we had an economy in
like you can buy
to kind of
like,
teach you like money management, I suppose. But like, that also caused people to like sell candy on the side and things like that,
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, if I sold like 5 pieces of bubble gum, like that's at 5 cents each, that's like enough to like buy another whole pack of like bubble gum. You know what I mean? Like
that's cool.
You do the math. It teaches you math, right? The hustle teaches you math.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Very true. Very true.
I remember my mom told me that she used to rent out comic books when she was a kid to like folks like waiting around. So she would like have them read it and then give it back to her for like, a nickel or something like that growing up.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah. I was like, oh, nice.
I used to cut hair.
You did?
Yeah. I used to charge, I think, $5.
What?
Yeah.
What?
To fade people up.
That's pretty cheap.
Or was it $7? Something like that. Well, back then it was $10 for a haircut.
Oh.
Yeah.
What would it be now, you think?
Probably, I don't know.
$20?
20, 25.
Hey, Mike, you owe me $25.
well, I mean, we could speak about your fading skills later, but
I used to tutor. I guess that was a side hustle when I was in high school. I used to tutor Algebra 1. That was fun.
Yeah.
And in college, I used to, I don't know if I told you guys this. I used to swipe my meal card to buy sodas at the cafe because I couldn't use my meals all the time. My friends had like flex plans.
Yeah.
So they would always swipe me in for a dorm meal. So I would use mine instead to buy sodas and sell it to construction workers.
Wow.
Because I use it or lose it. So,
Yeah, so you
each
figure-
swipe for
Well,
my
like
because-
that construction site,
you
be like,
had,
I'm gonna buy
like-
my sodas that are like sitting in my pocket, like
yeah, it was in my backpack. I'm like, hey, you guys want soda? $1 each.
That's shady.
Because like you'd have like 15 meals a week, and if you did it, they would just go away, right?
There's a whole story about how I finagled the housing like unit to half my meals because I had a large phone bill in college. I was like, I only need 7 meals. They're
Oh
like,
my
we
God.
can't lower that. It's attached to your dorm. I'm like, you don't understand. I don't need all these meals. And then they did it. They gave me they gave me my balance, and I was like, I can pay my phone bill with this. And then the rest of my swipes, because my friends didn't also need.
Wait, did you have a cell phone in college?
I did. But I also had a phone bill on the landline, but that was later on. Anyway, but I needed a side hustle.
So what we're learning here is that Ryan
wanna dig into
hustled
this.
Berkeley's housing to get his phone bill covered.
Oh yeah, and also
So
extra
Ryan
cash.
has an entrepreneurial spirit to get things done.
Yeah. So and I sold sodas. I used to have my closet. I would just buy like 5 at a time and be in my backpack, and I would like sell them.
Wow.
I needed the extra cash.
So were you the dude like at like baseball games or like concerts? It's like $1 water.
I totally could have been that guy.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I did it for a year. It was great.
Wait, so have any of you or any of your family members started any actual legitimate businesses other than selling
That's a
sodas?
legitimate business, Mike. I don't disparage Ryan's soda business.
Thanks, Elaine.
My parents opened a nursing home.
Oh,
I
that's cool.
talked about that.
And we're in it now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. That's legit.
Yeah.
It's necessary. How about you, Mike?
No.
Your dad sold insurance.
I mean, it's not really, I guess, yeah, it was a side hustle. They had side hustles.
Yeah.
My mom
Whenever
sold
they need to
insurance.
boost their incomes, but they didn't really like start anything like new or really kind of like seek out a thing. They were just like, it would be like an uncle would be like doing this thing and they'd be all like, oh, maybe we can all do it and get some money on the side, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. My parents were part of this. It was called the Inter-Valley Financing Corporation. It was basically and vicinity. No, it was basically they got all the friends together, they pooled their money, and they would basically be like a microloan bank.
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
To immigrant Filipinos.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So they would do that, and then of course they would charge interest, but unfortunately,
100% interest.
and basically, if people knew like, hey, this person just moved to America, we should just
Help them out. in some
help
way.
them out. This is a low interest loan, etc., like that. But it floundered because a lot of people didn't pay back.
Oh, that sucks. That's also
always
the risk.
the hiccup in that, right?
Yeah. So that was kind of their side hustle too.
Right. And I guess the risk is really what maybe deters some folks from doing it.
Totally.
And you have to almost have like a certain stability, and especially in the States where businesses come and go.
Yeah.
So
I would say, Mike, I mean, this is like maybe not an underground business, but I feel like the family parties and the mahjong tiles that happen and poker games are a business.
Okay, yeah. I know a lot of those.
Yeah. That's a business, right?
Underground gambling dens.
Underground. I feel
that's more like a none of your business.
none your business.
Don't ask questions about this mahjong. None your business.
Running none your business mahjong incorporated at vicinity.
How did your lemonade stand do, Joe?
I think we only had it for like one day. And, it was just a way to hang out with friends, neighborhood kids.
And sell and make money off them.
So adorable.
Yeah, and my dad or my mom gave like $5.
Did you make the lemonade from scratch?
Yeah, we got lemons from a tree, and
Really?
we put water and sugar. Yeah.
So it's not country time lemonade stand.
No,
It's
this is
actual
old school.
Or like Minute Maid frozen where you like dilute it with water?
This is real lemons.
So you sell any of that?
Oh, people gave us money.
What was your overhead? Did you pay healthcare?
I have no idea.
Did you pay your friends a living wage?
They started a union.
Oh, strike on, like after the first hour, we're done.
But yeah.
They demanded video game breaks.
You're like, I'm closing up shop.
But yeah. But who are we going to talk to later today?
So today we have a guest, Freya Estreller, who is the co-founder of Coolhaus, the company that brought ice cream sandwiches to a whole new level. So if you ever think about like your ice cream sandwiches growing up, your carnation, kind of like 2 cookies in a whatever
Ice cream in the middle?
yeah, ice cream in the middle,
Whatever.
in an ice cream
Hence sandwich.
yeah. Thanks, Joe.
I believe
I got
that's
lost
what a
there for a
sandwich
second.
is.
But Freya is a Filipino American entrepreneur who started the Coolhaus company with her partner, her business partner Natasha Case, and also her life partner. And she's going to talk to us about how she got started. And she started as an idea, and now it's like $1 million company, I think. Wow! So excited to talk to her in a little bit about that and get into how she got started. So stay tuned. Ever wonder how someone can send you a cup of coffee through the air?
What?
I love coffee.
I love coffee
And
too.
I know Mike loves coffee.
A little bit.
Joe.
I don't drink coffee. I just like the taste.
Just the taste.
Well, if you've ever thought about sending This Filipino American Life a virtual cup of coffee, there's a website new to us called Ko-fi, ko-fi.com. Go to Ko-fi at / This Filipino American Life. Again, that's ko-fi.com/This Filipino American Life and buy us a cup of coffee.
How much is a cup of coffee?
I don't know, like $3.
What?
Fancy pants.
I don't know. I heard some good cups of coffee cost like around $1 million.
This is true. If you ever want to virtually buy us $1 million cup of coffee, feel free. This is another way for you to contribute to This Filipino American Life. Buy us a virtual cup and keep listening to our podcast. Thanks. And we're back. Yay.
Yay.
Good ad, huh?
Yes.
Whatever the ad was.
I don't know what it was.
And it's okay.
Buy us a cup of coffee.
Before I introduce our next guest, I'm going to take a bite out of this ice cream sandwich. So it's kind of like delicious.
What?
What?
What was that, Ryan?
Delicious.
I mean, we could have ADR'd that later, man.
I know. But I wanted to welcome our guest, Freya Estreller. Yay! Who's co-founder of Coolhaus Company. Was that the proper way to...
Coolhaus, awesome, delicious ice cream.
Yes. All of the things.
We seriously just had some during the break.
We totally scarfed it down. Like, ice cream!
like
tore the bag
little
apart.
children.
Ice cream, ice cream, ice cream.
But Freya is actually someone I've known for a while now, a long time. My gosh, we go back to when we were kids. But she is co-founder of Coolhaus, ice cream sandwich company that is like amazing and inspirational to like folks who are looking to be in the entrepreneurship world and who wants to start their own business. We'll get into that in a little bit. But welcome. And, before we get into all that, Filipino American businesswoman. How did you get started? Where are you from? And all that. Give us a little bit of
So
background.
dramatic.
I know.
That's such an easy question.
Is it? Is it an easy
What a
question?
softball.
I mean,
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. This is awesome.
course.
And thank you for doing what you guys do. So Coolhaus, actually, we started it as sort of an art project back in 2009. I started it with my now wife, Natasha Case. We saw this kind of explosion of the gourmet food truck, right? Like this is late 2008. The Kogi Korean taco truck had started. I was working in real estate development and finance. Wow. She was an Imagineer at Disney.
Wow.
And we both wanted to get into the food industry. And so when we met, we started dating and she started talking to me, about these ice cream sandwiches she started making and naming them after architects like Frank Berry, Mies Vanilla Row, Richard Meyer Lemon. So all these punny, hilarious, like esoteric, nerdy names. And I thought, okay, well, what are your cost of goods? And she's like, oh, I don't know. I spent $80 at Whole Foods. And I was like, I thought you were an architect. You're supposed to know these things. And she's like, no, I'm the creative. And I was like, okay, like this actually seemed like an awesome opportunity for us to flex our muscles as budding entrepreneurs. So we both had our, full-time jobs. We started it on the side. We launched actually at Coachella, April 2009. We bought a beat-up postal truck on Craigslist for $2,900 that didn't have an engine. We tricked AAA into towing it to to Coachella for us.
Wait. How'd you trick them into
Because
doing
they
it?
can't tow commercial vehicles.
Okay.
So we just called them up, and actually we got the premium membership where you get like 2 free 200-mile tows, and I was like, that will get us to Coachella and back instead of paying like $300 to $500 each way.
Wow.
We only paid like $169, right? And he got there, and we just started crying. We were like, we just need to get to our first ever event. He's like, don't tell anyone that I did this for you guys. and that's how we started. Like, it was kind of like, excuse my language, like a total shit show.
Yeah.
No, you could curse here. Don't worry.
Yeah.
After they told you to Coachella, we were like, sucker.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was kind of freaky because I was there like in the tow truck with the guy, and I didn't know like the rules of like how tall the vehicle can be to like go like underneath the bridge, and every bridge we went under, I was like, oh my God, we're gonna hit it. Like, this is it. This is the end. But yeah, I basically we bribed all of our friends with free Coachella tickets, and those were our employees for the
totally
weekend.
would have done that.
Yeah,
And it was probably like super hot.
it was
so you guys were
it was
probably,
hot.
like,
hot.
We weren't actually in the venue. We were in the campground. So that's even more of like
yeah.
a cluster because like we're all sleeping in tents there.
Yeah.
People are coming up to us at like 6 a.m. wanting ice cream sandwiches. People are trying to like, barter drugs for ice cream. Like, it was like a total, which I think some of our friends like totally participated in. Like, it was a disaster, but kind of awesome. It's fun.
I'm pretty sure our listeners know Coachella, what Coachella is, right? Like,
Yeah.
should we give-
Yeah, I'm sure. It's pretty national.
Yeah, okay.
Nationally
And we
known.
were like pretty young. Like, I was 26, she was 25.
Oh my gosh.
We were like literally.
So 2 years ago?
yeah, exactly. Oh, thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm still 23. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I'm going backwards too.
But
So you succeeded at Coachella.
Yeah, I mean, we learned, I don't even know about succeeded. We learned a lot at Coachella, like how to run a food business during that weekend. And Natasha was friends with a guy who wrote for Curbed, the
Okay.
blog,
Yeah.
and mentioned to him, hey, you asked me about this architectural food truck we started called Coolhaus. We just, we launched. It was great. Here you go. You can do what you want with that info. And he just posted it up on Curbed. And it wasn't even like that nice of an article. It was like, yeah, cool. So I hear there was this cool hipster ice cream truck at Coachella that's architecturally themed. I don't know. Did you check it out? Like, it was like not like that nice. And it went viral.
Oh my gosh.
Like, then it was like LA Times, Eater, Dwell, like LA Mag. And we were like, what's happening?
Wow.
Like, I remember I had my BlackBerry, because back then we had Blackberries.
Yep.
And it just kept going off because my phone had
notifications.
Yeah, I like had just my phone had died, and so I like was in the tow truck, like, charging my phone back, driving back to LA with the truck, and I turned it on, and it was all like thousands of Twitter notifications because all the Twitter, I started getting all these Twitter followers. Yeah, it was nuts. It was a crazy time. And a different time because social media had just Twitter had just started.
Right.
Yeah, that was the era where, like, if you wanted to follow a food truck or find out where they were, you had to follow them on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's so crazy. What we used to do for food in 2009.
Taking a step back a little. So earlier we, as a group for TFAL, we were talking about kind of like entrepreneurship and the Filipino American like mindset, and that in my observation and I know in Joe's dissertation, talking about like Filipinos not really having that certain mindset. Do you have a background, maybe your family who has that entrepreneurial mind? Your parents or anything like that?
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot recently. My dad actually was and is an entrepreneur, which was, not the norm back then. He had like a nursing recruitment agency. He like sold some things on the internet. Like he was doing e-com back in the day when there wasn't really like
there was
e-com.
an internet then?
Yeah. And a lot of like import export. And my mom worked at the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power and kind of worked her way up working at the city to like a management executive level. So I had very strong examples of what like an entrepreneur's life and working mom's life would look like.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you think that how was it received by your parents when you told them, for example, hey, we bought a truck from Craigslist,
And we're going to store it in your driveway.
I would see it all the time.
So I imagine it went well.
Yeah, no. I think my parents, I'm a pretty strong-willed, independent kid, or and they were just like, all right, well, what is Freya doing? Cool. Let her do her thing.
Right.
But Natasha's parents were very concerned. They had like an intervention with her. Oh, wow. Like they like went to therapy with her about it because she got, her master's in architecture. Like she was supposed to become
An architect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm building a cool house, right?
Yeah. I mean,
thanks, Joe.
Coolhaus
Exactly.
is a triple entendre.
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
Rem Coolhaus, the Bauhaus movement, and the fact that an ice cream sandwich is a cold house.
Right.
Yes.
With cookie roof and cookie slab and ice cream walls.
Yes. I'm totally going to think of it that way now.
So
what are you eating, Elaine? An ice cream house.
So you sold the Coachella. What happened next?
So, went slightly, viral, and we saved up enough money to actually put an engine and doors on the truck. Like literally, it was a shell with like ice cream stickers all over it, like Choco Taco and Bomb Pops. Like it didn't
Like an ice cream truck.
Yeah,
Old school.
and actually it had no branding on it. Like no one knew what Coolhaus was because we didn't even have like a sign that said it. So we did all those things that you're supposed to do, and started doing catering, and also obviously like hitting the streets with the truck. And after that, it just sort of it took off. We were right there at the forefront of obviously this gourmet food truck movement, but also artisanal food, artisanal ice cream. Like if you looked at the grocery aisle back then, there was Ben & Jerry's, Haagen-Dazs, Breyers, maybe Strauss. And we were like, okay, like we don't know what's going to take off first. Like obviously the truck is happening, the catering's happening, but why don't we try to get into grocery stores? And so around, I think it was like 2010, we walked into our local Glendale Whole Foods and just tapped some guy at the frozen aisle who worked there like, hey, how do we get this in? And he connected us to the local forager, Kimberly Albright. Love you, Kimberly, if you're listening. And she let us do a test at 3 or 4 local Whole Foods. And it went well, right? Except she was like, your packaging sucks. It looked like, it literally looked like a box because we thought we wanted to look like the truck, like an homage to the truck. So it was like dull gray and light pink, and like you couldn't tell what was in the box. The flavors were stickers that we had to like pay people to sticker on. And so we took that feedback and we changed the packaging, and literally sales increased by like 500% after that. We made it like foil and like shiny, bright colors like you see now. But we owe it up, all to Whole Foods for giving us that trial and obviously giving us that very helpful feedback.
So you're totally operating out of like your house, I imagine, like making the ice creams and all that at some point?
We started at my mom's house, and then we actually moved into an Echo Park storefront on Sunset Boulevard with like gated windows and doors. And lived there in the back while we had like illegally like freezers in the front, and the truck lived at my dad's house in Atwater. And then we moved to the Factory Place lofts for a couple years in the Arts District, and parked the trucks there and had freezers there. And at this point, we had co-packers making our ice cream for us because we just couldn't keep up with the demand. So we took our recipes, found some people to work with to make it at scale.
Interesting.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm sort of, so Freya and I go way back, and so I'm amazed because I remember when we did an event together, and you said, "Oh, let's get some samples," and it was like in a Tupperware. It was delicious. I don't know if you remember.
Oh,
that.
totally.
Yeah, it was like, let's get some samples into before this event happens, and I was like, this is gonna be good. And then before you knew it, like a couple of years later, you're kind of everywhere.
Well, to even scale it back, like, how did you know to even approach Whole Foods? Because, like, I think it's an interesting story with the Whole Foods component. Because I have a friend who started a skincare line in Boston, and it's called Stem and Leaf Naturals. And so when she was working out in Boston, her friends developed this all natural thing, right? And then they were able to get it into one Whole Foods store in Boston. And I'm always thinking, like, is Whole Foods, like, because you started at Whole Foods and then they were able to test it, are they, like, just more open to, like, testing out local markets?
They definitely are. But now with Amazon, that's kind of, it gets more
might be going
complicated
away?
and
Okay.
complex. But I think their mission is still the same. But I think they're in a transition period.
Got it.
Right now. But yeah, I had my job for at least 2 years before I quit. Natasha actually was let go because, mind you, during 2009, it's the recession.
Yeah.
We're in the
Yeah.
middle of the recession. So obviously Disney is laying off people.
Left and right, yeah.
So she actually started Coolhaus full-time. Like, we launched at Coachella in April. She started Coolhaus full-time in July. Like, it was like that. And then I had my full-time job for a couple years until we got our first big investor. And then I was like, all right, now it's time. And now the company was making enough money to sustain, like, her full-time salary and mine. But for me, I was more, operations and finance. So I was looking at that very carefully. I was like, look, like, it can't sustain both of our salaries at this point. So let me wait until we get to that point. And like,
So for, like, Natasha, it was a matter of, like, necessity, right?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
There was no going back.
yeah,
for her.
there was no other option.
Got
Like,
it.
we didn't even have the conversation of like, oh, can the company even, like, at that point support?
You're like,
her
well, it's gonna have
salary?
to.
I was like, no, exactly.
Wow.
But where we are, it's almost been 10 years. It'll be our 10-year anniversary
Congrats.
in April next year. And we are now at like 6,000 doors in every state. We're international. We're in the Philippines.
What?
We're in Qatar. I think we're in like Malaysia, maybe.
How'd you broker the Philippines deal?
A Filipino distributor approached us about it through our partnership with what's it called? The Got Milk campaign or with Real California Milk.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we use, obviously, Real California Milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just approached you and said, hey, we want to distribute in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Nice. So where are you at in the Philippines?
God, I can't remember the name of.
Is it a store?
Of a store.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like a specific store chain that we're at.
That's so awesome.
But yeah, and we have
Sorry stores.
It's like a local Joe Smart.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. You're like Whole Foods. But
Half foods.
Just hop.
But I think we have like probably 20 plus SKUs, and we have our vegan line coming out next year that we're super, super excited about. It's been a really fun, exciting journey.
What flavors did you start with? And then where have you expanded to?
Yeah, I think we started pretty basic. Like we did, I mentioned the Miss Vanilla Row, which is Tahitian vanilla bean with a classic chocolate chip cookies.
That was the ice cream sandwich that Ryan just ate.
Yeah,
delicious.
and I think we sell 1 million plus of those. Just that product.
1 million.
1
The
million.
Miss Vanilla Row chocolate chip vanilla ice cream sandwich, because there's a reason chocolate chip vanilla is popular. I mean, like
It's the OG.
It's the OG. And vanilla, actually, your tongue has the least flavor fatigue for the flavor vanilla.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Good research right there.
Yeah. Little sale tidbit. But yeah, now, I mean, our whole thesis was like, start with like the basics, and we know that those are the ones that are going to sell the most of. But we wanted to be quirky and crazy flavors. So like we had like brown butter bacon ice cream right away. We were the
remember
first
that one.
to bring that bacon ice cream
Yeah.
to grocery stores. Like that was at Whole Foods for a while. To fried chicken and waffles ice cream.
That's right. I remember
white
that one. Yeah.
white chocolate, black olive, pistachio, black truffle. We had a foie gras one at some point. Then we got a lot of hate mail from PETA.
Did you really? Oh, I was like,
It sounds so good.
But it's just flavor, right? It's not the actual.
No, it's actually foie gras
okay.
and actually fried chicken and actually, yeah.
what?
Yeah.
That's why it was so good.
Okay.
Yeah, but we like to like push the bar. I personally am like a salty sweet person, so you can
Yes.
see like the savory kind of like ribbon go
Salty
through the flavors.
sweet.
Yeah.
So like if we had an imaginary Bullet Club ice cream sandwich, like that could totally be like a egg custard ice cream with like
I like it.
pretzels, maybe for a beak.
Yep.
And bone, and then maybe a
crunch.
pandesal-esque like cookie,
Absolutely.
like a dirty ice cream.
Yeah, I love it. We're gonna make
Did we
this
just
happen.
make a flavor?
I think we just made a flavor.
Yeah.
I think we just made TFAL Bullet Club Coolhaus collabo.
Yeah.
Nice.
Easy, guys. We got it. We got it.
But have you guys actually thought about like maybe a Filipino inspired flavor? Or?
Actually, we have one that we cannot keep at our stores and truck because it just flies off the shelves.
What's it called?
It's called Hello, My Name Is. And it is ube ice cream with mochi and toasted coconut chips and I think like caramel swirl. It's delicious.
I gotta try that one.
Yeah, I mean it's very unconventional, like in regard, like when people think of a halo halo.
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
guess you can think of a lot of different things.
Yeah.
People have halo halo,
But it's inspired by it.
Yes,
That's the thing,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
I would like to offer this. If you ever need a taster, for any kind of, I think Mike would be part of this as well. Would you want to be a taster?
Mike loves ice cream.
He's the ice cream
just
king.
a little bit.
Yeah. Just let us know.
Yeah.
We'll totally.
It's
do
one
it.
of the 10 major food groups, right?
10 food groups
Including French fries and
and pizza.
What kind of
Hamburgers.
what kind of pyramid are you looking at? Yeah.
It's a food pyramid scheme.
it's more like an octagon.
How did you? Who comes up with the flavors?
So in the beginning, it was Natasha and myself, and now it's really Natasha with the help of our amazing pastry chef, Courtney McBroom. She came from Milk Bar in New York City. So yeah, the both of them make it happen. They'll have an idea. Natasha will have some crazy idea. Courtney will try to obviously source the ingredients to fit like our specs and our machinery and costing, and then and we just go from there.
That's crazy.
So I want to ask you this. As a Filipino woman with a partner, what kind of obstacles did you face? In your industry, or what kind of obstacles do you face starting a business, anything like that?
Yeah, it's funny. We have one saying that Natasha and I talk a lot about, like a mantra that's like you walk through a wall when you don't know it's there. Right. And so I feel like in the beginning we were that kind of naivete, like really served us well, because now knowing what we know now, we would never have started this business like 9 years ago, an architecturally themed ice cream sandwich company. But, I don't think, as like a queer Filipino woman, I don't think I feel the challenges of like being queer. One, I actually think that's an advantage because most of the people that we like, for example, like investors or partners do business with are typically men, actually, and so they see us as kind of non-threatening in a way, and maybe like bro out with us a little bit.
Oh wow.
Yeah. As a Filipino, I don't think I've felt like any like hurdles with that either. I think the hurdle is being female. Wow. Because most of the people on the other side of the table are men, you already have that advantage if you were a dude that like you probably have seen each other already socially or whatnot. Like you have to like make such a concerted effort as a woman to try to build that relationship. And I think in these times now of like, the Me Too movement and Time's Up, it actually presents an amazing opportunity to start building, as women, build bridges with men, not isolate them. This isn't about like women versus men. It's more just like awareness. And so, I don't know if that answers a long-winded way to answer your question. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel that or let me say this: if you had advice for a budding entrepreneur, because there's tons of people who have ideas, but they don't know how to monetize them.
Yeah.
Right. What would be your advice to a young Filipino American? Doesn't have to be young, but a Filipino American budding
What's your
entrepreneur.
advice to budding entrepreneurs who started a podcast and don't know necessarily how to monetize it yet and would like to?
Well, one, I would think about, ask yourself, like, do you love what you do? Right? Because it's going to get hard. It's going to get tough. You're going to encounter many challenges monetarily, emotionally. And the passion really has to be there. So number one, like, if you love it, like, great, like, proceed to step two, which I think is like, what kind of niche are you going to dominate? Because I think right now, the way that sort of businesses are succeeding are picking a niche and kind of just killing it in that niche. It's hard to be something to everyone, right?
Yeah.
And so for you guys in general, I think it's pretty easy. You have a niche that you guys are dominating, right? And then it's about the business model. And I think finding and talking to mentors in whatever space that this entrepreneur is looking at is really important to kind of just get that get the background of what you do, some research and figure out, like, really, like, how do you monetize? And that is very important. I know a lot of people are like, I'm going to have this, I'm going to create this product and I'm going to take it to Whole Foods. It's like, okay, well, what's your cost per unit? What are you spending on marketing? Who's your team look like? How are you going to distribute it? Yeah. Like, all these questions that, like, you should know.
Especially in the food industry, we're so competitive right now.
Yeah. It's super competitive. And it's like, and everything's just getting disrupted, right? With like e-com, Instacart, Postmates. But it's also a super exciting time. A lot of different opportunities.
So you talked about mentors. So who are some of your mentors in this entrepreneur food industry? Yeah. So
our first big angel investor, his name is Bobby Margolis, and he used to own Cherokee Jeans. So
my gosh.
Big company. And we were introduced to him through Natasha's dad, who was actually the architect on his house. It all comes full circle back to architecture. And he really, pivoted us away from, I think when we approached him, we were like, we want to build like 30 ice cream trucks in like every major metropolitan city. And he was like, all right, slow your roll. Literally, slow your roll. We're going to, and at that point we had just gone to Whole Foods, and he was like, let's focus on the wholesale CPG, consumer packaged goods side of the business, because there's a clear exit there. Like, you could sell to a Unilever, a Nestle, a Dean Foods, like there's an exit. Whereas with ice cream trucks, like what's the exit there? So he really pivoted us that way and really taught us to think big, but also think responsibly and profitably. Like, he comes from like the old school, like, I can't believe like all these companies right now, like pre-revenue, have all these high valuations, and then even like, with little revenue and like losing tons of money, like, like the tech companies
they still have money,
that they have like these crazy $1 billion valuations, whatever. Like, he doesn't understand that. And so I think that was actually really good for us to really fine tune our business model and make sure that it was a business model that made money before we went to go raise more money to grow it.
Did he not understand it because he just thought like the economics of it doesn't make sense for like a company like Twitter, whose valuation is at like $500 million? I'm making this up, by the way. It's like $500 million, but then they're always losing.
Yeah, but maybe tech is a bad example. But even just looking at like other like food companies or concepts right now, like even like marijuana companies, like they have like crazy valuation. It's kind of like insane right now. So I don't know. It was like he definitely taught us a lot. Yeah.
Cool. I have personal questions.
Wow, Ryan.
TMI.
It's not your therapy session.
No, I know, but I played basketball with Freya growing up. I kind of curious if you still play basketball. It's like we talk about basketball on this podcast a lot, and but do you still play?
I still play. I play in the LA Municipal Women's League.
Yes. Oh my god. gosh, I totally know about this league because there's a documentary called Pistol Shrimps.
Yep, we've definitely played against them.
It's like that team is full of like all these comedy actors and writers, and they're the catalyst for starting the league, right?
Yeah, totally. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean,
from what I gathered from that documentary, they're not very good basketball players.
but they draw the biggest crowd.
Yeah,
they do.
they got a lot of heart.
Yeah, like we win championships on our teams. The misdemeanors, what's up? But
I love that name, by the way. That's awesome.
MISS, yes.
That's so cool.
But no one shows up to our games.
We'll go.
You guys have to come.
We're gonna come. Ryan and I will come.
Does Natasha play?
Yeah, Natasha plays also.
Oh my gosh.
You could like entice people with ice cream. I bet they would come.
Probably. Yeah.
But we'll come.
We
because
should.
We will go.
So do you have any ringers on that team?
Freya's
you're
the
the
ringer.
Yeah, come on. No, we're all pretty good. Like I think everyone on our team either at a minimum played high school basketball. A couple played college ball.
Did you play college ball, Freya?
I went to Cornell to play college ball, and then I quit immediately. Like after like a couple practices.
Did
in
you really?
preseason.
You were like over it.
It just was like I think
Much time.
it was just trudging through the snow at like 5 a.m. when you're like hungover because like
Yeah.
you're like an 18-year-old.
Yeah,
at
totally.
college. I was like, okay, that's enough.
I'm like,
So
and
instead, you just studied hard.
I studied
hard.
very, very hard.
I'm like, you went to Cornell? That's like this thing called an Ivy League school, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yes.
Your mom's listening. She studied so hard. She didn't say hungover. She's just tired from studying so hard.
totally.
All that water and the Diet Coke or whatever. So hard.
All those like real books because we had books back then.
I have another personal question, and just really about like lifestyle. You know, you have a baby now, or
Yeah.
not even a baby. My gosh, toddler.
Yeah,
Remy.
Remy is 18
Oh
months.
my gosh.
I love the name Remy. It reminds me of Ratatouille.
And after Rem Coolhaus, it all comes back to Coolhaus and
I love
architecture.
it.
I
Yeah.
was thinking of House of Cards.
Oh yeah,
Oh, Remy.
that
Yeah.
guy.
Oh, Remy,
That guy's
Mahershala Ali's character.
Yeah.
That guy's pretty badass.
Yeah.
He's dope.
So you know, from a Filipino Catholic upbringing, I know you and I both grew up in very Catholic families. How was that explaining to your parents, or even like coming out or anything like that for you?
Well, I'll tell you. I guess this is a very personal memory I'm sharing. No, it's with coming out to my mom. So I didn't tell my mom or dad that we were dating for like years.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
I'm sure. I mean, I know that they knew, but I just felt because I'd never dated a woman before. I felt like really like I was like, this is so weird and coming out of left field. Like, how do I explain it to them? And plus, we started this business together, and clearly, they obviously know Natasha.
Right.
So we had actually gotten engaged, and I still had not told my mom. And Natasha was like, you need to tell your mom, like, immediately. So
Well, how long was that?
it was like 2-ish years in. Okay. So finally we like have this dinner and my sisters are in on it and they're like nudging me during the dinner to tell her, and I just like totally chicken out. So I come back home and Natasha's like, I can't believe you didn't tell her, we're calling her right now. So we call her and I was like, Mom, and she's like, like, my mom's like always too busy for us.
Right.
And she's like, what?
Like
And
all Filipino moms.
Yeah, totally. And I was like, well, I just wanted to tell you something. Me and Natasha are dating. Like, I didn't even tell her engaged.
Yeah.
Are dating. And she's like, I knew that, Freya. And I was like, oh. And Tasha and I are like, at this time, like crying, bawling,
Yeah.
right?
It was over the phone.
Over the phone, yeah. She's like, I was like, you did? She's like, of course I did. Like I'm your mother, Freya. Like mother's instincts.
That's so
She's
cool.
like, why do you think I gave you and Natasha the same gift for Christmas last year?
She wanted
Like,
you to match.
yeah, like, and I was like, okay. She's like, yeah, it's great. Like, I love Natasha like my own daughter. And that was that. Now,
Was that the segue into, oh, by the way?
yeah, I think I told her like a couple weeks later that we were engaged, and she was like,
She's like, oh, you were wearing that ring. You didn't
Yeah.
think I noticed.
Now, my dad is a different story
Oh my gosh,
because
okay.
my dad is very classic, like Catholic Filipino. And he has a new family, like a new wife
Yeah.
now, and another son, like my half brother. And they live actually in like the Vegas suburbs. They moved. And I told him, or he found out through like another relative. And we had a conversation right before we were going to get married because I didn't really want to invite him to the wedding. And he was like, well, I don't want to, I was in the car driving. He's like, well, I don't think we should talk now because I want to really explain to you how I feel about this. Right. And I was like, F you. Like, I'm telling you something and like, I don't need to hear what you feel about it because I have a feeling it will not be good. Yeah. And so I actually don't have like a very good relationship with my father because of that. Yeah. Well,
but that's like a reality, right?
Yeah.
Like
imagine that
for a lot of queer people.
Yeah. Although typically Filipinos have a pretty good relationship, I think, with gayness. I don't know.
I don't know. It's kind of, it's hit or miss.
Yeah,
no?
It's kind of like a don't ask, don't tell sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, Mike and I, we were just hanging out with my parents today, and we were talking about, my dad was talking about how my cousins have a gay cousin. They're not related to me because the Filipinos have different family lines, right? Of course.
Everyone's a cousin.
Of course. And then...
Cousin, what's up?
Well, no, because my dad described him as, because, so-and-so has the bakla cousin. And I'm like... What is his name? Like, I'm pretty sure their name is not Bakla cousin.
Yeah. It's the.
And I was like,
the Bakla cousin.
And then he was just like, because he's just so out. And I'm like, Dad, this isn't unusual. We have a gay family member. And he was just like, Elaine. And I was just like, whatever, Dad. But it's just, that's just how Filipinos can be. And I'm like not surprised that you didn't tell anything to your mom. Mike and I shared a look when you were talking about that because Mike and I lived together for a long time.
Oh, before telling?
And we didn't tell both of our parents until we were getting married.
Wow.
You're living in sin?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Totally.
So that's why I was like, it's fine. Like, what? They know now.
Now it's out.
Well, no, like I did tell my dad once that, I told my dad and I said, Dad, so Mike and I are living together, and I just spit it out really fast, and he just had this look like. And then
you're not really staying at Janine's.
I wasn't staying at my friend Janine's or my friend Jen's house.
But not to equate that to.
Oh no, absolutely don't. I don't. No. But I understand the lying kind of to your parents part,
which is so weird because we're
adults.
Yeah.
but your conversation is on a different level, obviously, because you're explaining your queerness to your mother.
Yeah.
Mike and I are just lying because that's what Filipino children do to their parents.
Totally.
I finally told my mom that I have a tattoo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
that's not the same.
That's
either.
another story.
That's not. Yeah.
You're joining again.
Yeah.
Totally.
Tattoo. Oh no.
So all the parents out there listening to this, yes, your children are lying to you.
Yeah.
Some way, shape, or form.
Stop guilting them.
But now they have grandchildren through you.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So does your father have any kind of contact and relationship with your kids?
Nope.
No.
None.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
But my mom makes up for all of it. Like she's here, and Remy's the first grandchild in both of our families. Natasha's family too.
So is he spoiled?
He is very spoiled little boy. But he gets a lot of love. Yeah.
That's
good.
good.
Yeah.
That's good. And your mom's awesome, by the way.
Can we shout out to your mom?
Yeah,
shout out to Tita
Susanna Reyes.
Yeah. Saving the
I love
world.
how you both
Seriously.
knew that because your mom worked in the same kind of civic engagement.
Yeah, she's awesome.
No,
environment.
it's so fascinating. The older I get, I guess I'm now old enough that like my friends work with my mom, and they'll come up to me afterwards and be like, "Dude, your mom's a like a badass." And I was like, "Really? What do you mean?" She's like, "Apparently, if you want to get like politically what's the word? Like connected
Yeah.
or like plugged in or blessed by like the Sierra Club or endorsed. You have to go through my mother.
Can we have her on too?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's already in the.
It is? That'd be dope.
Talk to her about it.
But I remember as a kid, she would read these kind of like not self-help, but more like leadership books. And I always thought like, what a nerd. Like, what is she reading? And she was always like busy going to like the Sierra Club meetings. She's on the board of the Sierra Club. She does this on her spare time. Like she basically does not have free time.
Which is why
I was
she was
she's
just like,
she was
whatever.
like whatever. but yeah, I really like, and especially I think when you become a mom, you realize how much more awesome your mom
Yeah.
is and your parents are. Because now I look at her, I'm like, how did you do that? You had a full-time job. You had 4 girls.
Oh, wow. You have 3 siblings?
Yeah, I have 3 younger sisters. She was doing all this volunteer work. She's politically active, like really, truly saving the world. And I'm just like, hands down to you. Like,
Yeah.
She did a great job.
I totally want to talk to her mom.
She's a good line dancer too.
She is.
Really, Joe?
Yeah.
Could she out Toto you?
We're about the
I don't
same.
know if anybody can out Toto Joe. Well, you have a beautiful family. Natasha's here too, and Remy. So I know they're in
running
the
around.
audience, running around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever plan on bringing them to the Philippines? Would you ever visit the Philippines with
We
them?
actually just got back. We were there last Christmas
Cool.
for my mom's family's 25th reunion party.
awesome.
Where and this is very Filipino. Each family, there were 6 families, had a Disney theme that they had to dress up in.
What was your theme?
Snow White. So
who is the queen, Snow White, and who are the dwarves?
So I think my sister Shannon was Snow White. One of the dwarves was poor Natasha. So Natasha was in a full-on dwarf outfit with like a beard and pointed shoes, and Remy was a dwarf, and I was the mirror, and she was like, Freya, like, this is how much I love you, because you're making a Jew like dress up like a dwarf and sit through, and also we had to sit through this whole Catholic mass where the theme was, and I kid you not, like, wives like obey your husbands. and my
Be submissive,
yeah,
that one.
totally. And my mom and all my titas are divorced actually, and so like a lot of them are. And I think we all kind of looked at each other. We were like, "What is this?"
Wait, you were in your costume during mass?
Yes, all of us. All of us. There was Aladdin. There was the Dalmatian.
Are there pictures of this?
Oh, there's video. There's it's like insane. They do this like every year. But yeah, Natasha and Remy fully experienced that.
Wow.
I can't.
Yeah.
I'm trying to picture a whole church full of Disney characters.
Yeah.
Was there a
It's more fun in the Philippines.
was there an Ariel and a Sebastian? I hope.
Oh my God, was there a Mulan?
I don't think there was Little Mermaid.
Was there a
Imagine if
Frozen?
Mulan
Because that was really
I
popular.
don't think there was Frozen either.
Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty, all the classics.
Yeah, it was like the classic
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
Shout out to Natasha for being a great sport on that one.
Yes.
She walks by. You're probably the tallest person there.
She was the tallest person there, and she was a dwarf. Wow. That's insane.
Oh my God.
Did you get to do any business in the Philippines?
Yeah, Natasha met with like the distributor there. That was the only business meeting, and then we went to Coron.
Oh,
What
okay.
is that? What is that?
Also, it's an island.
Near
Yeah.
Palawan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mindoro.
I have never been to the Philippines. That is my
What?
thing. Yeah. I would like to go one day.
Business
maybe,
trip.
Like the
Seriously.
DOT could like pay for our trip, and they could follow us with cameras as I explore and like
Give
go,
your pitch
wow.
to the Department of Tourism.
Yeah, Department of Tourism. Don't you want to watch one of a podcaster on a medium-sizedly famed podcast explore?
You say mediocre podcast?
I mean medium-sized.
Medium.
Big
medium.
yourself.
I don't know. I think we're grande size.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know,
Venti
Lane.
size?
Think
Trendy
big.
size. Venti size.
I wanted to say thank you for doing this. This is
Of course.
it's also good to just catch up and see you. You have a great, beautiful family. Do you have any other projects that you're looking at, or any other kind of business plugs?
Basically,
that you want-
plugs.
Yeah. So, besides Coolhaus, I actually also started an alcohol company.
Tell us more.
Man,
Yeah, called Ludlow's Cocktail Company.
nice. She just keeps going, everyone. She just
Yeah.
keeps going.
Yeah.
And we make these really cool, all natural, prepackaged craft cocktail Jello shots that I'm sure
Ooh.
my mom has pawned on you guys.
I've had it. Oh yeah.
Really?
at
That's
some event.
Remy.
Hi,
Hi,
Remy.
Remy.
Hi, Remy.
And we make these like cool like bottled spritzes. But actually, we just invested in this other company called Future Gin, which is the first ever, I think, like vertically distilled, owned, and distributed gin
Oh,
like
Wow.
ever. So we partnered with three other women, Morgan McLaughlin, who is the distiller at the Spirit Guild in downtown LA, Amy Atwood, who is our distributor, and Mary Bartlett, who's like very big in. Hi, Remy.
Hi, Remy.
It's all right.
Hi. He's gonna be on the show.
And Mary Bartlett, who's very big in the bartending scene. She was like the beverage director at the Ace Hotel.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's like a delicious like citrus gin with like honeysuckle, avocado leaf, black peppercorn,
Ooh.
of course juniper berry, and we bottle it next week. So
That's
I'll let
exciting.
you guys know when the launch party is.
That'd be awesome.
Maybe you should do it at like Mamser or Geneva. Sorry.
Yeah, Geneva.
We
Yeah,
really
no,
love Mamser and Geneva in Los Angeles. Sorry.
Yeah.
Since we live here.
And I now actually, I no longer work at Coolhaus day to day, even though Natasha and I are still, owners in the company. They call me the first lady of Coolhaus.
Is that right?
But I am now head of
Flock.
operations. Yeah.
Flotch.
I was like, what? What do you say?
I'm now head of operations at a really cool tea startup called Tea Drops, which is another women-owned company. It's organic certified tea that dissolves in your cup. So no tea bag, no tea strainer. They come in these cute little shapes like a heart or a star or a flower. Drop it in, hot water, done. So,
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
yeah, so more eco-friendly, super convenient, and delicious. Yeah.
I'm totally thinking like that's a good like gift item for like
For
bridal
sure.
shower, baby shower,
Yep.
anything like that. It's perfect.
Yeah. I'll send you guys some.
Yes.
Ooh.
So that's already out. And
Yeah, that's
Okay.
out. Yeah, I joined that company about a year ago, and Sashi Chandran, the owner, started it in 2015.
nice.
Yeah, and you can find us at Amazon.
Right
You
on.
can find
Nice.
everything on Amazon.
Yeah.
Yes.
So where could people find Coolhaus?
Coolhaus. You can find Coolhaus at if you're in California, Whole Foods, Bristol Farms, Lassen's, Gelson's, and other kind of natural, better for you grocery stores like that. So
Also at the ASUCLA market at the bottom floor.
yes.
They sell it there.
Publix, Wegmans, HEB, a lot of 6,000 doors. And it's funny. We knew that we made it when we started showing up at our friends' bodegas in New York, like
Nice.
random corner store
Store.
bodegas, and they're like, "Yo, Coolhaus is here." I was like, "We made it. We did
It's
it."
like I'm gonna get a chopped cheese sandwich and an ice cream sandwich.
That's so cool.
Where else in the in the United States are like? Do you have trucks still, or is that?
Yeah, so we actually still do have trucks
Nice.
in LA, Dallas, and in New York, and really just doing like special events, marketing activations. Like we just did a really cool one with Lola, that tampon.
Oh yeah, the
Brand?
all natural
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
I have a question. I just remembered it now when you were saying marketing. I am a fan of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh my God, have you?
RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars. One of the prizes one week was like a $1,000 gift card for Coolhaus.
Yes.
And I
Yep.
was like, Ryan, ask her about it. So now I can ask you about how did that happen? And then did you get to hang out there? Did you get to meet RuPaul? What happened?
Yeah, we got to go to a taping.
Oh my God.
We're standing there in the front row. We
my
were
God.
definitely on one of the episodes.
Oh my God, how
but
cool.
but the funny part, so they found out about us because they, especially being in LA with the film industry and the TV industry, we get booked a lot to do catering for sets. And so they had booked us, and we were like, hey, actually, like if you book us, like we'll give you a discount if we get like tickets to the show, because one of the people on our team was a big fan. And so they're like, oh, Freya and Natasha, do you want to go? And at that point we had never watched it. So we got there and we were like, what is this? This is amazing. And then like promptly like devoured all
entire
like 12
thing.
seasons
Yes.
of it. But then we built a relationship with them, and we were like, yeah, like let's sponsor it. Yeah, because I love all the different like
Oh my
local
God,
sponsors
yeah.
on that show. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's I think another like we've made it.
Yeah.
We're
No,
a sponsor on
totally.
RuPaul's Drag Race.
I just remember because I am a big Drag Race fan, and I would make Mike watch it, and then I just remember, like, I always feel like I've done my job because then Mike will say something that's like drag related, and he'd be like, "That's not what Trixie would do," and I'm like, "Excuse me? Oh my god, you know who that is? Like, what's happening?" I know for Joe and Ryan, you have no idea what I'm talking about.
Nope.
You don't know
Trixie
Drag
is
Race.
big now. She was in like a vodka commercial.
Yes,
on
and
TV.
she has like a country album.
Yeah.
That's just like insane to me. But
No
yes.
idea.
No idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. This was my important question because I needed to know about Drag Race.
Cool.
I think
Anything else?
I think we're good for
Website.
Yeah.
Social media handles.
Yeah, so Coolhaus is actually cool, COOL .house, HAUS.
Nice.
That's it.
That's it?
No.com.
Nice. Wow.
Imagine that.
So cool.
Yeah.
Man,
So
I'm learning
cool.
so
How-
much.
Yeah, and then
Right.
Future Gin is futuregin.com. T-Drops is myteadrop.com, MYTEADROP.
We should include all these links.
Oh yeah,
in the
we'll
blog.
put them in the blog, and
Yeah.
we'll blast it. So, well, thank you so much from the mean streets of Atwater Village to
Oh,
look at
yeah.
her now, Freya Estreller,
Exactly.
co-founder of Coolhaus, and also I guess Ludlow's. I've had that. They're really good.
Yeah.
Ooh, I want to try it now.
They're
I
strong.
mean, like I was
Strong.
gonna say they're really strong.
Really?
I think I had 2, and I was woo. It was
Yeah.
a good night. It was a
And
good
then
night.
Ryan was dancing on tables and taking off shirts.
Yeah. But thank you for being here, and thank you for doing this this interview, and hopefully some young entrepreneurs out there will learn something, and it's about being bold and just going for it.
yeah,
So-
thinking big.
yeah,
Think
there you
big.
go.
Think big.
I'm going to think big.
Think
and-
venti.
Yeah,
I'm going to think venti. I'm going to think Trenty.
Trenty. Oh, there's a Trenty now.
Think Trenty and imagine a Bullet Club ice cream
There you go.
sandwich.
There you go.
This Filipino American Life is produced by Michael Nailat. Our intro and outro music is by Roger Habon, aka 10.4 Raj. Resident reality checker Girly Colado, legal advisor Rianne Fajardo, and graphic design by Vincent Collyer.